What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. Joined alongside Emilio in Tennessee, here to talk some draft and talk some Green Bay Packers. We are live on YouTube, X, Rumble, and for the time being, Facebook. We'll see if that stays up. So if you're hearing my voice and you'd like to join the Facebook group, we've got one of those as well. It's just been really rough trying to get it to sync up with StreamYard, and it's on Facebook's side. They've got some really, really strict rules. Evidently, they were trying to say that I was doing something illegal. That's exactly how I felt right there, Emilio. So I said flush it, and we didn't do it for a long time. So We'll see if it sticks. You keep your eye up there, Emilio. You'll probably see a red X pop up over here in a little bit, and that means they said no can do. But how you doing, man?
Good. Hey, beautiful day out here. I was cranking, man. Got through 10 yards of mulch, got some mowing done. Another cleanup job, and it was beautiful. I already went through one of those days where you went through the gallon or the half a gallon that you have, and you're like, man, I'm gonna need some more water. So I've been catching up when I got home.
Yeah, it was 78 here. We just had dinner on the back deck, watching some TV out there, and had a spicy steak sandwich from Panera, sponsor of the show. It was excellent. But now I'm
up here. I hit 81 down here, so it was a little hot. So.
Yeah, good stuff, man. We made it, man. It's draft season. It's spring. Next thing you know, we're going to be talking about OTAs and then the heat of the summer and training camp. I know spring ball has already started in college. I've been keeping up with Notre Dame there. That's been a lot of fun. People got some really, really high hopes for them. I'm a little nervous. I kind of feel like the Irish might take a step back. They lost a lot of folks, but they did kind of reload, I think, with four transfers from the transfer portal. But it's just nice, man, knowing the footballs are flying around up there in South Bend and all over the country with college football. And it's so cool this time next year, Emilio, we're going to be talking about a whole other crop of people, coming into the draft. It's just amazing how it never ends.
Absolutely. Just a recurring cycle and a lot of fun, too. I mean, each year you add a little bit of something from the draft board, from paying attention a little bit more, watching a clip, even playing college football. I mean, I felt even more connected just by being in the game, playing it. You're seeing the players, seeing them, move around.
Absolutely.
Obviously, they're throwing numbers that are fake, but it's just kind of cool to just be around it again.
No, it definitely is, man. There's no doubt about it. That's kind of how I see Madden too. I don't get into the whole online competitive gaming, but it's like a companion for the NFL and college football season. It really does keep you kind of in tune and check with what's going on. The Aggressiver UFO says, what's up, Clayton? Imagine Walter, Nolan, and Jaden Higgins and Swinson or Ivy or Jordan Birch. My 3-round cycle, the guys will make Green Bay better if the D-line coach legit going to hit like crack. Man, that'd be a hell of a draft there, to be honest with you, man. And I'll try to grab a couple of these off our board real quick and tell you where we got them. Like you said, Walter Nolan in the first. We've got Walter Nolan in the 18 spot. Said Jaden Higgins in the second. We've got Jaden Higgins in the 47 spot, so that checks out. That's great value. And it says Ann Swinson or Ivy. I'm trying to think of where we had Swinson. I really like Swinson because after hearing Greg Cosell talk about the way that he uses his 85. Hand. Yeah, we got Swinson at 85. That'd be a great pick. What about Ivy? Do you see Ivy anywhere there? I know he was down there at the Ole Miss. What about Ole Miss?
Top 50.
Is he really obvious? Yeah. Wow, 50.
Just behind Jalen Milroe.
That would be amazing, man. Hey, we're with you there, UFO. That would be absolutely awesome. Chris the Casual in says, what about Harmon? Harmon, not a bad pick. I would be okay with Harmon. We just have Harmon a little bit lower. We got him in the 29 spot, but look, that could be Milio. We could make that work, right?
You could definitely make that work. Honestly, I'm just getting excited about just pull the trigger on one, right? We've talked about corner. I just the whole circle. It's the sport is cyclical. We've been cyclical this just off season of, hey, where are we going to go? Started at D line, went all the way back around. Now we're back at D line again. It's kind of cool.
It is, man. 2-0 for this says it's been a doozy of a week, so I'm going to not joke for once and say thanks for all you do. This show is a spot of consistency. I really appreciate the chat, the boys, and Carly when she's on. Salute emoji. Hey, salute to you, 2-0 for this. We appreciate you, man. That's what it's all about. And then he goes on to say, now that's all out of the way, this show sucks. And it does. Exactly right. Greg Rice, Baz has a different trade value chart that he uses in PFF mock drafts that he said is better. I think was the guy's name. It's the Rich Hill chart, I would imagine, is what he's talking about there, Greg. And by the way, just a little breaking news. I think it's next Tuesday. Baz is actually going to be on with us for the first 20 minutes. We're going to get his draft take, so that'll be a lot of fun. And speaking of that, we got another hero joining the show here. Tim came sliding in sideways, but I thought you were taking the night off, man. Yeah. What's going on?
You said breaking news, so I had to hit the breaking.
An absolute hero, because I didn't hit it. That was not me. That was Tim before he was on camera hits that. So I'm appreciative of him.
Here's a guy.
Yeah, Greg Rice, that is probably the closest chart we have, although it's not the gospel. I think it's far more realistic than what PFF does, which is, I'm sure, why Baz is using it. The Rich Hill trade chart. Many people talk about the Jimmy Johnson chart from way back in the 90s. Rich Hill, I feel like, is the most accurate, but if the team wants a player, man, they're going to overpay. And every time somebody overpays, and if you include quarterbacks as well, they'll trade a lot more draft capital to go get a quarterback typically. So I think I heard Ryan say this on his pod. He agrees that you almost have to remove the quarterback trades from that chart because people are going to overpay for that. But that's cool that he's thinking outside of the box too. Baz is an awesome dude and been a friend of the program for a long time, ever since we started. So shout out to him. Andrew Petro just became a new YouTube member. Congratulations there, Andrew. Appreciate you supporting the show. We'll make sure that you are on the Larry McCarron Pinky Wheel tomorrow for an opportunity to win the autographed Mason Crosby card. So thank you.
Perfect timing. I mean, anybody else that's thinking about it, you better jump on it before. So what's the cutoff tonight at midnight, Clay? Or are you going to do tomorrow?
tonight at midnight. And full disclosure, I say tonight at midnight in case I don't have time to do it tomorrow. Right. Most of the time I get it right up to the last second, but I don't want to mislead people into thinking you can, jump in at the last second and I didn't have time to do it. So I'll make sure that definitely by midnight tonight, I go ahead and load it up. And then if I have a chance to do it again, I'll load it again tomorrow. So yeah, thank you for asking that. We got a little bit of breaking news earlier today, Tim. I think you're going to be excited about this one. I know I was. And listen, this isn't groundbreaking or anything, but Christian Welch is back in Green Bay as they sign him.
Here's
now.
A guy.
Immediately, your thought, Tim, it probably goes to, okay, we don't need a backer now, right? That's kind of my mind steered there. And then I thought, wait, step back a second. We lost Eric Wilson. That was our special teams guy. Christian Welch going to pick up where he left off and jump right back into special teams, isn't it?
Man, it'll be a fun training camp, right?
It will.
If he makes the 53, I'll be shocked. But I love it, right? Here we go again, second year in a row, right? Hopefully he makes the team this year. We'll see.
Yep. Emilio, what do you think about the Christian Welch signing, man? Is this more about special teams? You think he's got a shot to make the squad? And of course, if the right backer falls to us, who knows? Maybe he just ends up on the practice squad, right? He being Christian Welch, of course.
Right. I think it's something, you just gotta get him in there, get him on the 90. He knows Green Bay. Let's get him back. Let's get him worked out. See if anything's changed. See if he's get better on the offseason. But probably special teams practice squad guy. I'm hoping Hopper gets a little bit more burn this year and see where he goes. Honestly.
Yeah. Same. All right. We had some other news drop earlier today. That's a breaking news night here. Easton Butler tweeted out, the Packers met with Texas State offensive lineman Nash Jones at his pro day per at Tony Pauline. So we got another offensive lineman on the draft board with the cheese emoji. I already added all these guys in. And I think there was maybe one or two that seemed like decent rankings. Yep. But for the most part, it's hard to find these guys, man. It's
321 on the board.
There you go. Appreciate that. We also had another one, Vanderbilt wide receiver Darion Wiley met with the Saints, Packers, Lions, and Commanders at the UL Monroe Pro Day, as well as receiving an invite to the Titans local Pro Day. The Packers were a team that stood out while there, is what it says. So we got him on the board as well. Playing, obviously, at Vanderbilt, you think in the SEC, maybe a little more known. Where do we got him on the board currently?
It's a tough one. 502.
That's one of those we don't have a whole lot.
You found him on the board?
He was bobbing for air there. The issue being he is the last one on our board, and then we are in the no number category. So the only number he has is his ranking of 2023 of a 938.
There you go.
Here's the guy.
Also, we've got Jacksonville State wide receiver Perry Carter Jr. met with the Packers, Commanders, and Patriots at the UL Monroe Pro Day. So Jacksonville State wide receiver Perry Carter Jr., where's he at on the board, Emilio?
Perry Carter is at 453. We have PFF 22 and 23. It was basically 370, 360, those two.
He might be playing in the UFL tonight. Who knows, right?
What?
Which it does kick off tonight, right? Did I hear correctly? I think we got UFL football tonight. So
nice.
There, so another wide receiver. These are all guys I kind of feel like might be potential undrafted free agents. This is the guy that caught my attention. South Dakota State University running back Amar Johnson met with all the teams that were at his pro day with the Packers and Vikings standing out. The Packers were very interested in him and spoke to him for an extensive period. I want to say he had a decent PFF grade.
That is correct. We had him at 186.
Got it. 186.
His PFF 22 grade was 154, 23, 187, and 24, he was 51. Not on either board, though.
Got it. Good stuff. Tim, what do you think about that, man? It seems like they're looking, because I want to say they met with another running back as well. They're trying to probably add a body or two on the practice squad, I would imagine. Right?
That's what I'm thinking, right? It's got to be for depth. You know, we feel good about our running back room, but you can always get better, right? And some of these kind of under the radar guys, it doesn't hurt to keep an eye on them, right?
Correct.
I don't think we're gonna like trade up and get Ashton Genty or something, you know.
No.
Let's look at the guys that are realistic, right?
Wouldn't be opposed to it, Tim. I mean, if we're going to talk about all our options, but no, you're spot on there. The only other one they met with was RJ Harvey. PFF currently has him 85th on the board, 94th when we took down the info, but he's sitting at 117 on our board currently.
Got it.
Nice.
Good stuff. All right, next on the list, we got another one. UL Monroe wide receiver Davon Wells met with the Packers and the Commanders his pro day, along with the Rough Riders and Red Blacks of the CFL. So there you go, another wide receiver. What about him, Emilio?
464.
464?
Yeah.
Got it.
No big boards, 2s, 300s, and 500s for his grades.
Got it. Good stuff. All right. In other news, Ole Miss edge outside linebacker, edge/outside linebacker Princely
Umana Milan.
Here's the guy shared with us on SEC Network that the Falcons, Panthers, Buccaneers, and Packers are the teams that have shown the most interest in him through the pre-draft process. So Princely might be on the Packers' radar here as a backup plan if they don't get the guy that they truly want there in the first round. I think we've got him in the 52 spot.
Oh, look, another dude from Ole Miss.
And I'm telling you, that pro day today, I fell asleep watching it. I'm not going to lie to y'all. But I did. I woke up and Jackson Dart still throwing. I went back to sleep on the couch. But, yeah, it was interesting. Actually, I think we got a clip we'll show you guys here in a minute on that. But what do you think about Princely, man? Do you think there's a chance that Goody has a higher grade on him and takes him at 23, or do you think that's something probably hovering around that 54 spot?
Yeah. One of those two. Yeah, I mean, 91.1 on PFF last year, you know. Ooh. I mean, this guy's a dog, man. I don't know if we go first round on him, but you know, maybe at 54, like you said, probably lowering my chances of getting Jaden Higgins, you know. But I wouldn't be upset at all if we got Princely here. I mean, tape and numbers don't lie, and there's a lot to be excited about with this guy, especially if you're looking for you know, an edge rusher for sure.
Yeah, and Emilio's doing something creative over there. I see the board moving around. What'd you do there, Emilio? Talk to me.
I was just trying to throw in DJ's numbers to see if that would help Princely at all. It did not. Do
you have a number from him? If you do, throw it in there.
No. I was just throwing like a 55 in there just to see, but it actually bumped him up, I think, a little. Anyway, I do like that he was productive. I think seriously he's an option at 1 just because of how wide, you know, Goody's range is. If he likes a guy, he's going to take him. It's not like, I mean, he took Quay in the first round. If he likes him, he's taking him. So right. I think that we do have to keep it as an option. I would obviously like it a little bit more in the second round, but if he's there and Goody has faith in him, and that's what Matt wants, and Halfwood thinks it'll help. Let's do it.
Yeah, he's more of a 34 guy though, right? So it'd be like a little bit of a developmental project. Yeah.
Sounds about right. Yeah, we got a super chat here from Brambo. Thank you, buddy. He says, in my opinion, I guess that's LaFleur. Is that right?
Yes.
LaFleur put off the vibe that he was sick. Running back Lloyd's unavailability due to injuries already. I can see adding more backs. And I can't remember.
I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
Wasn't that you that mentioned it last night, Tim, that he had some injury problems in college as well? Am I thinking right?
Yeah. I mean, we knew that when we drafted him that he had issues. I shouldn't say issues, but, he had a couple nagging injuries coming out of USC. So we knew that when we drafted him. I don't think anyone thought we would lose basically his whole rookie season. So this will be the year. This will be the year to see him step up for sure. But I mean, Brambo's saying too, that's his opinion, right? In his opinion, he put off the vibe that he was sick of his unavailability. I get it. Just like we were sick of Jair's unavailability due to injury and a number of other guys. So I don't think that's off base at all.
Got it. And I guarantee you they're sick of us talking about their unavailability, right? That's the way that works. So, Brambo.
Sit your butt outside.
Thank you for the super chat, Brambo. Appreciate you, man. All right. In other news, Easton Butler said there were several members of the Packers staff at the Ole Miss Pro Day with a source saying, quote, all were heavily watching Trey Amos. So, obviously, Trey Amos, a corner out of Ole Miss as well. They're just still in the show. We got him in the 51 spot, outside corner. We talked about him in our cornerback breakdown, part of our draft preview. In 2022, he was 309th at his position. He jumped all the way to 160th in 23, and then jumped all the way to 21st in 2024. The PFF Big Board had him at 28. Consensus Big Board had him 45. Kyle Krabs in the 33rd team had him at 30, and then Dane Brugler had him at 93. Last we checked, he had a 8+ RAS, scoring him an extra 3-point bonus there as well. What do you think, Emilio? Trey Amos, you think there's a chance that that's got to be pick 54, right?
Yeah, but I still wouldn't be opposed. I mean, if you brought in Ravel, right? If you didn't like him and you're at their pro day looking at Amos and you still want that corner in the first, yeah, it's a possibility. But I'm excited. I really did like Amos there. I think that he'd be a good corner, but it's really all they see, But it's when I was listening to DJ and Buck, they were just saying the fact that it's more of like a smorgasbord of what you're getting instead of an entire outlook on a player. You're not getting the full outlook. They said back in the day, you used to be able to like, hey, if you don't run that 40, you're going to be the only one not doing it. It's, it's going to affect you real bad. Now the fact that they're able to say, hey, I'm going to do agility, I'm going to jump, I'm not going to do sprints, I'm not going to do, I'm not going to run my 40, all that. That's really kind of making it tough on the scouts not being able to get their full fill out of their numbers at the end. They're saying, we got to do more work in the fall. We got to get better tape there. We got to try to see him in some live practices, live games. I think it's really going to kind of change their scouting look.
Yeah. Coach Lynn says Trey Amos, bingo. And he went on to say, I seen him getting mocked in the first. Nothing would surprise me in this draft. We talked about from 20 to 60. This is DJ, Daniel Jeremiah, saying this. From 20 to 60 is like, these guys are, you take your pick type thing. So, really, outside of the top 20, anything could end up happening. There's no two ways about that. So,
I do like the write-up that PFF had on him, basically saying his floor is like, CB2, and then, a potential ceiling of, sky's the limit. He could be a starter, so it's like both ways. And, he's kind of a versatile dude. I like Trey Amos. I do. I like him at 54. I don't know if I like him in the first round, but definitely at 54.
Yeah, I don't like him in the first either, to be honest with you. I think he's lacking a little bit, but again, we're talking as if I don't want people to misunderstand what we're saying. We're not saying a second round pick is going to be a bad football player. We're just simply saying, like, with that 23rd pick, you should be picking, close to the cream of the crop, right? Now, we do know that the top tier, I think you've talked about it, Emilio. I've heard somewhere between 10 to 15 blue chip prospects, and I think I heard you say like 7 to 12-ish, like, and that's all everybody's personal opinion. But really what you're talking about when you pick at 23, that those blue chips are going to be gone, right? That's what we're expecting.
Yeah, you're taking best that's on your board, that you're prepared, that you did the most research on, that you're confident in. I think that's the option, because without that, you're just going off of what everybody else is saying. I feel like you got to trust your work. If you put in all that work throughout the year to look at the tape, watch them, go visit the game, send the scouts, send Goody, see him at his pro day. That's something that has to be worth something in their eyes, to be able to do all that and get that firsthand experience, instead of just trying to run numbers to get them on the board.
Yeah. Coach Lynn says, do these college players' agents pay draft experts to boost their players in the mock drafts? I heard that today. I think we would be kidding ourselves to think that didn't happen to a certain extent. That's why we call it lying season. And, like Ryan was every year he does a podcast series and he's working on it right now, where he'll go through Bob McGinn's article where he talks to 3 scouts about these specific players. And, it's great information. It's very, very entertaining, especially the way that Ryan kind of tees it up.
Oh, yeah.
But I look at it and go, boy, that is the epitome of lying season right there. Like their names aren't on it, right? They don't have to list their name in the scouts that are talking. And it just so happens that, some of them, the way that they talk, it just does not sound like the way that NFL teams actually scout. Like Bill Belichick is big on this. It's Bill Belichick 101. Don't tell me what the player can't do. Tell me what he can do, right? And then on top of that, there was somebody the other day, I was listening to a Notre Dame podcast, and he was talking about a coach that stopped a meeting right in the middle of the meeting and said, all you guys are talking about are what these players can't do. What can they do? Mm-hmm. So I think a lot of that's getting weeded out of the scouting process. So I have a hard time believing they're just sitting in there just, raking these dudes over the coals. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. I think there's some validity and there's some truth to some of those reports. But also, boy, if there's a way you want to get misinformation out to drop someone's stock or raise someone else up, that's how you do it, right? Something like that.
And that's the only option they have. There's no more games. You can't go out there and perform again. It's all that's happening right now is word of mouth, and just a mass amount of boards being put together and mocked. So there's not, physical proof of what's happening besides like what you're seeing where they go to pro days, where they're seeing these kids still, running around, still figuring out, are they going to make the board? Do they have the ability? Are they injured? All those things.
All right. Coach Lynn says, so your board may be more right than you think. That's the whole reason why I build the board that I do. And now Emilio's jumped in it and Tim's been giving feedback and everything as well. The goal is to get the opinions on these players as soon as possible and then control how much you can move them up or down, right? And we have full say over, okay, we got the information in at the end of the season as early as possible. And then, of course, there's going to be late info come in because, like Daniel Jeremiah, one thing that pisses me off about him, and I have nothing but respect for him, is he waits till the last possible second for his top 150. And that bugs me because there's a lot of finagling that goes on behind the scenes, right? There's a lot of.
How many times are you going to come to my press conference late?
Say to DJ every time, like, how many times are you going to come into my draft board here, my draft room, and give me the top 150 late, DJ? Because it gives you, it's just, you can think on it longer. And this is something, Amelia, I'm sure you've heard DJ and Bucky Brooks talk about. Sometimes you can look at these prospects for too long, work the report, get what you feel on them, and set the board. Because the longer you think about it, you could talk yourself into something or you could talk yourself out of something, right?
Yep. It's like just absolute overthinking of a problem or overthinking of an issue. That's where you just get yourself in a bind. They were even talking earlier today, like they almost both of them agree there's not like a number one receiver. Buck was saying, there's not a number one receiver in this draft. There's a bunch of number twos, number threes, and everything like that. But there's not a Marvin Harrison, Rome Odunze, all the, Malik Neighbors. That's not in this draft. So they're saying all of that can happen. But then you're also seeing, hey, T-Mac, Luther Burden, are any of them? No, everybody's kind of got their own opinion.
Yeah. You got Marlboro Jack in the house here on Rumble. Appreciate you swinging through. Says, greetings from Argentina. Put it on the map.
We do need to get that on the map.
Marlboro Jack. I love that name right
That's
there.
the coolest name ever. You kidding
It's like
me?
Marlboro Matt right here, you know?
I'm
I
going to
have a hard time believing that Marlboro Jack doesn't have children in other countries he don't know about. That just sounds like the coolest human being on the face of the planet right there, right? Like he just walk into the bar, give me a whiskey. What's your name? Marlboro Jack.
I picture that he kind of looks like this guy. You know?
Oh, absolutely. Over in Argentina sporting the cowboy hat. Hey, appreciate you tuning in there, Jack. Hope you have a great evening here. So Trey Amos, again, just keep an eye on him. It sounds like the Packers are showing some interest there. All right. Now, moving along, I thought this was hilarious. You know, we were talking about lying season. You guys are going to get a good kick out of this. Ian Rappaport put a tweet out. First of all, listening to Greg Cosell talk about Chris Paul Jr. from Ole Miss, the linebacker, the stackbacker, he absolutely loves him. He's just a little undersized. So if he was, an inch or two taller and 20 pounds heavier, this might be the best linebacker in the draft, according to him, right? So he got a huge bonus from us, but I doubt he'll meet the threshold. This was hilarious. So one of the things that Greg Cosell said on that podcast was he doesn't have the arm length. His arm length is going to hinder his ability to shed blocks. However, even with the short arms, he's able to maneuver and he has kind of this high football IQ on how he can position his feet to avoid those blocks, which is pretty impressive, seeing that he's got shorter arms. So Ian Rappaport put this out. Check this out, guys. More arm length drama. Ole Miss linebacker Chris Paul Jr. measured 29 7/8 arm length at the combine and 30 3/4 inch by NFL scouts, not Ole Miss, at his pro day. So it's literally like that's a full inch. What happened? Different tape measures? You use a Stanley instead of a Fat Max? Like what are we doing here? Just a Stanley Silver? What do you think they used?
The tip, though.
They didn't use the Milwaukee tape.
No. Honestly, they probably should be using the Fat Max because the only Milwaukee one I like is the Magnet one. I honestly think, but it's really like I know you missed it last night, but the punch length that I was talking about is like when your hand's out flat up against a wall, the bottom of your palm to the inside of the inside of like the curvature of your shoulder will get you a different length than if you're going from your shoulder to the tip of your tip of your middle finger trying to get the actual length of the arm. Your hand can be, where your wrist is and everything. That can be a different distance. You have good football IQ like Chris does. You have quick hands. You get a quick slap. You know where you're moving. You got to get, engage and shed, all that stuff. If it happens on tape, I mean, that's kind of where you got to lean to. Right now we're literally just looking at a bunch of numbers.
Yeah, yep. Definitely. All right, Tim, you got anything to add on the arm length gate here this year?
No, I think Emilio covered it pretty well, right? Like we're talking about an inch, right? Or 3/4 of an inch, or whatever, man.
Steve Palazzolo was the original tweet that Ian quote tweeted. It said 30 for 30 documentary. Will Campbell's arm that would sell for sure.
Let's do a feature length film exactly on the arm length for sure.
Hey, I could care less about the arm length. Let Will Campbell fall to us at 23, and I'll run the damn card up. I'll run upstairs, take the card from Goody's office, and run it back downstairs to the draft. What I'll do. So
absolutely,
I have no problem with
Jr. too for that matter. If he falls, I think another guy that we should definitely have on the radar.
Yeah, definitely. Now who's on the radar that was at the Ole Miss pro day here today. Sorry, I've got that steak sandwiches. I had to swallow that twice there. You know what I'm saying? That's just how it goes sometimes. People on the pod's like, thanks, Clayton. Didn't need that visual. So Anthony Dabona maybe. Ole Miss interior defensive lineman Walter Nolan, number 2, and JJ. Do we know how to say his name yet? Have you heard it yet, Emilio? Pegues. Pegues. I could see that. I could see Pigs. I could see. I don't know. What do you think, man? What would you say?
I want to say it was Pegasus, but
Pegasus. Okay.
Yeah, but I could be completely off on that. But I remember he was like versatile. They actually handed him the ball a few times. They kind of used him as a fullback.
Mm-hmm. Andy Monday, look at this. Not 30 for 30, 30 for 28.5. There you go. That's beautiful. Beautiful. So anyway, both players should be on the Eagles' radar in the 2025 NFL Draft. Of course they would be, right? They'd fall right in their lap again. But this video was shot by Jordan Reed at the Pro Day. Watch the way that our boy Walter Nolan moves here, gents. Look at this, crazy. Look at the change of direction. Then, of course, Pegasus, I guess is how you said it.
J. Cole said Pegas.
Pegas.
Okay.
Pegas, all right, you go.
We trust you until we get in trouble for saying it wrong.
Exactly. So here's Pegas. Let's watch him move.
Get the towel. Put it down. Okay, I'm coming back for it. My towel. And put it down.
My towel. That's pretty impressive, but am I wrong by feeling like Walter Nolan ran it just as well? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, when you see Walter Nolan run it, my man was scooting, dude. Let's go back to Walter Nolan again. Look at this. To me, it's just as impressive as Pegas. If that was Pegas. Maybe that was someone in between there. Let's see if it's 87. Is that 87? We'll have to wait and see the number here. See if we can grab the number. No, that's 1. So that wasn't Pegas. Sorry. That was some kind of edge defender there. That might have been Ivy, actually.
Okay.
We're looking for 87. That's not him. Let's see if we got him right here, because I want to see this guy move, because the Packers have already – actually, they didn't meet with him. They just – they met with him, I think.
That's Ivy.
That's Ivy there. Oh, he stumbled, didn't he?
He is big, though. He didn't even – the way he's running the circle, dude's stride is just like cutting off corners of the circle.
Here we go. I think this is him. 89.
Yeah, 89. Yep.
Yeah.
Man, he moves well. That's no wonder they handed him the ball. Okay, my question is, how come some of them are finishing running that extra quarter of the circle and finishing left, while Walter Nolan didn't run the edge of that circle and finish straight down the field?
That's a good point. That's a good point, Emilio. Sound like a sham to me.
I don't know.
All right.
I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
Take a look at those guys real quick, okay? Let's put up the big board and see, just based off of what we've seen at the Pro Day today and kind of some of that information that came out about where the Packers, who they met with and all that stuff. Let's start with, let's key in on Ole Miss, I guess you could say. So when we go Ole Miss here, we could search it, can't we, Emilio? Let's do this.
You can.
Let's go Ole Miss. That should do it right there. So let's see. We got 11 on the board, it looks like. The top prospect out of Ole Miss is Walter Nolan in the number 18 spot. The Packers have met with him. He also dominated the Senior Bowl and got a 7-point bonus from Greg Cosell. Greg Cosell actually said Walter Nolan is the best defensive tackle in this draft, even better than our boy at the top here, Mason Graham, which is wild. That's why I gave him 7 points. I'm like, I'm not putting him above Mason, but that is a huge – that's really saying something, saying he's the best defensive tackle in this draft, man. And then next on the list is Trey Harris, obviously wide receiver, finished 48th on our big board as it sits right now. Next from Ole Miss is Jared Ivey in the 50 spot, edge defender from Ole Miss. Trey Amos literally right behind him at 51. They're less than a point apart. That's really cool.
Yep. And
then you got Princely. Say it, Tim.
Umana
Milan is in the 52 spot. Look at that cluster of Ole Miss guys. That is wild, dude. Literally four within 6 spots on our board in different positions. It's crazy. Next, you got Jackson Dart. He's in the 79 spot, obviously the star quarterback down there. Chris Paul Jr. comes in the 98 spot. That's going to be interesting because his PFF grades in 2024 were off the freaking charts.
Yep.
Next, you got Caden Prescorn, if I'm saying that right, tied in out of Ole Miss. He's in the 224 spot. And then Antoine, maybe is how you say it, Wells Jr., wide receiver out of Ole Miss. He's all the way down in the 426. Caden Davis, kicker, is also in the draft. And Jordan Watkins, another wide receiver out of Ole Miss. What do y'all think?
Talk about Jared Ivey?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a great idea.
Where do we have Jared Ivey?
We got Jared Ivey in the 50 spot is where he's sitting currently.
Yeah, and definitely a guy to keep an eye on at the edge position.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Jared Ivey, 198th in 2022. Then he dropped to 359. Then he jumped all the way to 16th at his position. PFF Big Board had him at 60. The Consensus Big Board had him at 58. Daniel Jeremiah had him in the 50 spot. Kyle Krabs had him in the 49 spot. and Dane Brugler did not have him in the top 100. We don't have any RAS information. Maybe we'll get some more of that after today. I'll do a double check tomorrow in between shows, as we're going to do a morning show and an evening show tomorrow. So what do you think, Emilio? Jared Ivey, do you think that's got to be pick 54? Do you think there's a chance he goes a lot sooner than that, man?
I don't know. He production really cranked up the past year. He was what was he, 16th in PFF grade, 60th and 58th on the board. So it looks like he's going in round 2. It really depends on how that first round falls. I could totally see it, but I really still think that they're keying in on Walter being at Ole Miss and maybe got their eye on the cornerback, and maybe they have their mind made up on the edges right now. They just wanted to be there just to see if they were wrong, checking him out, and then move on to the next one.
Got it. Tim, you got anything else to add to the Ole Miss boys? Anybody else you want to see here, man?
No, I think that covers it. I mean, Ivy was kind of teetering around the bottom of my list, but I mean, there's a lot of talent coming out of Ole Miss, man.
It's crazy, man. We talked about it.
Honestly, if we get 1 or 2 of these guys, I'd be extremely happy.
Yeah.
We talked about it on the college football show we did this past year, man. You're looking at that consensus big board early, and it was just Ole Miss all the way down the board. Now, some would say they underperformed dramatically this year, and I know Lane Kiffin caught a little flack for it, but I think they're a good program, man. They know how to recruit. Somebody had said earlier, I think in the Patreon group, they had said, man, they must be shelling out the money for NIL. They've been shelling out the money for a long time, ladies and gentlemen. There's a show called I posted, I actually sent it to you guys too on the text thread. Let me see here real quick. I don't want to misrepresent the name. I know I sent it to you guys. Yeah, there it is. It's called Foul Play. It's on YouTube. And it's a 4-episode series. Each episode's like 30 minutes. And it takes you behind the scenes of Bagman and everything at Ole Miss and how recruiting was before it was legal to do NIL stuff. And Ole Miss got the bag. That's what Jaco said.
Other than Jackson Dart and Trey Harris, though, it seems like the bulk of the talent's on the defensive side of the ball. So, a dude like me who loves defense, like I'm keeping these guys on the radar because there's multiple swings you can take on the defensive side of the ball for sure.
Yeah. Blake B in the chat said, I hear they love Lane Kiffin in Knoxville. Man, let me tell you something about that. I lived that. All right. I had just moved up here. I'm pretty sure. I remember being up here when they hired him, up here being in the Tri-Cities area and about an hour away from Knoxville. And then when they hired him and everything, and boy, this is the guy that's going to bring them back to dominance. We're going to win a national championship, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden he left in the middle of the night to go back to his favorite choice there in USC. And there were literally sofas burning on Cumberland Avenue in Knoxville. Like they were so mad. Emilio, that was probably way before you got to Knoxville, maybe. Yeah. I don't know where you've been down there, but that was a wild time, man. Wild time. It's calmed down a lot on the strip because I remember my first year in Knoxville, I went down to Cumberland Avenue and I'm like, man, I want to go see. I didn't have tickets, but I'm like, I want to see what the buzz is like for Tennessee, Florida. And that was when it was at its height. Philip Fulmer was the head coach. Yeah. I think Steve Spurrier was still there. I want to say, I could be wrong, but I go down there on the strip and it is just packed. Oh, Charlie's is packed. I mean, it's just it was just the coolest thing ever. And I'm sitting there at Old Charlie's and having a drink and maybe a wing or two. And these 2 cars pull up to a red light. And one has Florida flags on it. It was a Honda Civic. I'll never forget it. And the others were in a Jeep. It was 2 girls in a Honda Civic, 2 girls in a Jeep. The girl in the Jeep reaches out the window and set the Florida flag on fire. The window. I will never forget. We just heard screaming and looked over and seen smoke, and there was that flag was, it's like a nylon, like it burns like plastic, just this black smoke.
Oh, it probably smelled terrible.
I was like,
little sticks bent,
got a sip of my Michelob Ultra, said this is what I came for, right? It's exactly what I expect.
You'll still see it. I mean, you see people will just be staring at anyone that has like a Gator shirt on or a sweatshirt or anything. You're out going shopping. People just get the eyeball, man, when they're wearing that. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's good times, man.
Yeah, our guys better wake up with their piss hot, like I said before. So.
Hey, they wake up with their piss hot down there, Tim. Let me tell you, buddy. They do. And
They go to sleep with their piss hot too.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's an interesting place and doing a lot of work down there on campus and stuff. It's cool though. It's a cool campus, good people. But you ever get a chance, you find yourself in Knoxville, whether you got tickets or not on Saturday, just swing by there, walk around the stadium, and just catch a little bit of the environment, the atmosphere, man. It's pretty cool. So with that being said, I'm not a Tennessee fan. I grew up a Kentucky fan, so I was
big game tonight to play, right?
Oh, big game. It's actually on right now, right? Or is it? When's it come on?
I think it's on right now. I think you're right.
We got Kentucky, Tennessee tipping off the night.
Just going to put it on in the background.
I may. Won't you mind your business over there, sir?
Yeah, that's on me. Hey, you run the show. I'm just here.
I just work here, sir.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else you guys want to hit on in terms of pro day information, all that good stuff? I know Daryl threw a stat out here. Jared Ivey has 17 sacks in his collegiate career at Ole Miss, so pretty decent numbers there. I'm not reading that, Prince. You knucklehead. What's wrong with you? Here we go. J. Cole. Emilio, isn't Kane the mayor of Knoxville? You damn right.
See?
Not Knoxville. What's he the mayor of? Please tell me you know this, Emilio.
No.
I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
Glenn Jacobs. I think his name's Glenn Jacobs. He's from Morristown, right down the road from me.
Okay.
He was Kane in the WWF. You remember Kane, the big red dude?
Oh, all right. Yeah.
Mayor down there. And I think it's Knoxville or Knox County or whatever. I don't keep up with local politics much, but yeah, pretty cool dude, man. Good guy. So, hey, man, we covered everything in that first hour. Are you kidding me? We got college football rivalries. We got pro day information.
College basketball, March Madness was mentioned.
Talked about the UFL.
Wrapped it up with a little wrestling. We're good. All right, that's going to do it for hour one. For those of you listening on the pod, we'll see you on the other side for hour two. We appreciate y'all.
Get ready to go.
All right, welcome into hour two. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get we don't know why you do, but we appreciate you. So I wanted to cover something for Bates real quick. Let's jump into it first, and then we'll get into the news of the day, which was obviously say his name. Is it Mykel? What was it again? Mykel Williams is the top 30 visit. But I want to hit this because Bates' birthday was just the other day, and he asked, hey, can you guys cover this? So, listen, I seen the chat earlier. I know people don't like AI. I get it. I understand. It could be a very, very, very cool tool if you know how to use it. I'm still learning how to use it. And I literally, within 5 minutes, had an article put together for Bates when he asked about this. You guys have heard there's going to be some potential rule changes right here on the horizon. What are you laughing about?
The face you picked for Goodell.
Oh, yeah, you like that? Like he's just letting you know. The first one I had was actually Vince McMahon walking to the ring, but they have photoshopped Roger Goodell.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, here we go. Exactly. The NFL is gearing up for its annual meeting from March 30th to April 1st, 2025, where team owners will vote on several rule change proposals outlined in an article from NFL Football Operations dated March 26, 2025. For a proposal to pass, it needs approval from 75% of the league's 32 clubs, which will be 24 votes. Here's a breakdown of the key changes. So these are some of the stuff that's being mentioned here. Permanent kickoff rule change. All right. What's proposed? The new kickoff format introduced in 2024 will become permanent with some tweaks. This format aims to make kickoffs look more like a scrimmage play. Players align closer together, less space for high-speed collisions, and encourage more returns. The key adjustments changes the alignment of the receiving team in the setup zone. All right. It says moves the touchback spot to the 35-yard line instead of the 30 if the ball lands in the end zone and is down there or goes out of bounds. So they're going to move it up to the 35 if this gets passed. Obviously, the goal here is to try to get them to return that football because many players were or many teams were just kind of kicking it in the end zone going, hey, we'll just let them have it at the 30 because they wanted to put the explosiveness back in the kick return game. And that was kind of their MO. Obviously, I feel like it backfired because last year we've seen probably less. Seems like we've seen less kick returns than we have in a long time. But obviously, that reduces the injury of high-speed collisions while boosting return plays for excitement. Go ahead, Emilio.
I still think that I don't know why they're trying to keep moving. We're going to run out of a football field by the time they actually get this thing figured out. It's going to come out to the 50. Like, can we not just move the kicker back 15 yards and let him kick it? Like, then it'll at least just be kissing the goal line. I mean, I don't understand why this is so difficult. Let's just move the kicker back 15 yards and tell him to use his whole leg, tell Nigel Gruff to kick the bloody piss out of it, And if you get it to the end zone, you get it at the 20 and you're good. If not, all right, return that thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I can't help but laugh when I see it will become permanent. It's like, yeah, right. Until you change it again in a year, whatever.
Hey, the only thing that's permanent in life is everything changes, right, Tim?
That's right.
That was a little Tracy Lawrence for you there. You guys go look that up, all right? Time marches on, circa 1992-ish. Emilio, how old were you in 92?
I was not born.
He was not even alive. You and I were like 10 years old running around the backyard playing football.
In 1992, Emilio's pops was saying, I ain't having no kids. That's what he said. All right. Expanded instant replay. This is interesting. All right. Competition Committee Rule 15. Here's what's proposed. Expand replay assistance to correct, quote, specific objective errors using clear video evidence without requiring a coach's challenge. This could include things like player positioning, clock errors, or game administration issues. Why? It aims to ensure fairness by fixing obvious mistakes quickly, though it might slow the game slightly if overused. Defensive holding, illegal contact penalty adjustment. What's proposed there is removes the automatic first down for these penalties, keeping the yardage penalty at 5 yards, but not gifting the offense a new set of downs. Why? Detroit is a bunch of pansies. Detroit argues the current rule is too harsh on defenses seeking competitive equity. They lead the league with 11 defensive holding calls in 2024. They led the league. So this might be self-interest too. So what do you think about those two rules there? Listen, when it comes to replay, whether it's penalties or not, just get the damn call right. I don't care, man. You know what I'm saying? That's how I feel about the replay. Like I never find myself watching a football game going, God, this is taking forever. I do find myself going, boy, they screwed that call up.
Yeah.
Yep.
What's your all's take on that?
Tim?
You guys know where I stand. I think they're fixated on convincing us they're trying to get it right, but I don't think they're interested in getting it right. I think they're interested in, controlling the flow of the game, so whatever they got to do, I don't know.
Little bit of sleight of hand there, Tim. Go ahead and look at the picture over here, and I'm just going to fix it over here on the other side.
Yeah, and then we'll hear the officials saying, "Oh, we didn't have that camera angle. The one camera that would have showed us, we don't have access.
Somehow we don't have it, but you can get a picture after the game's over with, and you can zoom all the way in on your face at any point during the game. That's totally fine in the stands.
They can find me in the stands.
Right.
With a daddy soda looking stupid, but we can't get
the one image.
All 22 cameras for the officials. Yeah.
They can find Jacob hitting on a bartender up there.
Behind the glass, behind 2 layers of glass in the atrium. I mean, unbelievable.
Oh man, I'll tell you, when we met up for the game there that we went to together, I thought he was going to go home with one of the ushers that was letting us in the Lombardi clock exit or entry, I should say, the entrance. Yeah, I looked down there. He had his arm around her and everything. I'm like, you know her? I don't know her. I'm like, there you go. All right, ban on the tush push. This is known as the Green Bay Rule 12, Section 1. Nice. I hate that her name's attached. What's proposed prohibits an offensive player from pushing a teammate lined up directly behind the snapper. Obviously, the quarterback's what we're talking about here. Right at the snap, this targets the Philadelphia Eagles' highly effective tush-push play on short yardage situations. Why? Green Bay wants to outlaw this play, possibly due to its dominance. Philly's used it to great success. Debate exists on injury risk, though NFL data reportedly shows 0% injury rate for it. So, look, I think it's silly. I hate that the Packers were the ones that brung this up, but at the same time, I don't understand why you changed it before. If you were going to have you can't assist the ball carrier, just leave it alone. Why did you ever allow it if all of a sudden now we're going to change it? So I don't know if it'll get changed, but what do you guys think about the tush push? Do you want it changed? Let me just ask you that.
I would say that I don't know. The fact that you have to push them to get them across, I feel like it's an issue. I mean, when I run the QB sneak on college football, Clayton, the dude just takes it and dives right to the right of the center. That's all I ask him to do.
The worst animation ever.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously it would be leaning a lot more towards rugby at that point. Let's scrum it up and lock shoulders and kind of push it back and forth. But I get that you have to at least put it out there and try it. I'm still keep the QB sneak. You just don't need a hand. I think that offense already gets a lot of help to help them get more points, things like that. They want to keep the drives going. Let's get rid of punts. I mean, I feel like they just keep the tush push so we can get rid of the punter. I mean, I feel like that's where they would kind of be leaning.
Ron Samble says that Diana Rossini is reporting there's growing support to ban it. To me, it was a rule forever. Like, I remember we played backyard football, you wasn't allowed to push. Like, hey, you can't push him in the back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yep. And we're not talking about like end of a run, right? You know, like a guy gets, stood up and your O lineman's, giving him that little shove to get the extra yardage. We're talking about like literally lining up by design.
A snap.
And
snap.
Pushing a guy. So yeah, either you go back, like a change would be going back to how it always has been. I believe that was mid-90s that they changed that rule.
Yeah.
And forever it was like that, So
Greg says it's currently legal. It was illegal.
It was illegal. Right. So we'd be reverting back to kind of old school.
I think that would be a better.
You gotta change some kind of rule and allow the defense to load up and give them some kind of something to level the playing field. But I wouldn't be opposed if they got rid of it,
I think that's a perfect way to back up your point, though. Is like, let's just bring it back to when we first go back to the Ice Bowl, like Brambo says here. The Ice Bowl touchdown shows the rule play. Running back has his hands up.
Yep.
All right, let's go back to those days. Why did we have to change it? Why did the offense need something
Bart
else?
Starr didn't need a push. Why does anyone else?
And it was frozen, Tim.
That's the thing. Like, when you go to changing these rules, it kind of changes the outcome of history, right? Like, that's the stuff that bothers me is like, you don't ever – I hate asterisks, right? Like in baseball, people like to use them because of the steroids era and this and that. And look, I understand that's a real thing. That's a real issue. As they said, Babe Ruth did it on beer and hot dogs. He didn't do it on HGH, right? And Hank Aaron did it, cleaner than anyone, having the home run record forever. But when you start to change rules over decades like this, now all of a sudden, like Brambo says, the Ice Bowl TD shows the rule in play. The running back has his hands up. And Blake B points out, it's Chuck Mercine in the Ice Bowl threw his arms up. People thought he was signaling touchdown, but he was actually saying hey, I'm not helping him, because he thought he was getting the ball on a wedge play, right? Yep. And obviously you guys know the story. Bart Starr held on to it there. Drew D says, I saw some non-Packers people talking about the rule change, and they thought the Packers wrote the rule change up very well. Like it. Nice stuff. So we'll see, man. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, it wouldn't be a change, right? I mean, it'd be a change technically, but really we'd be reverting back to how it's always been, right?
Right. Yeah.
What was your take, Clay, on it? I missed it.
On the tush push, I wish they would revert it back so I want the rules to be the same over the last, whatever. And I understand the game has gotten better because of rule changes, but that's when you don't. Mm-hmm. You don't really
stats are going to go up because we're getting more games. We're getting, players are staying on the field more. They're getting more opportunities. It's a more passing league. But let's go back to the basics. I'd rather keep it football than turn it towards rugby.
Yep. And J. Cole makes a great point here. Crazy thing is, I think we defended that play the best out of any team. And I guarantee you that's what Mark Murphy went into that meeting saying too. Yeah. Is like, hey, look, we're not trying to ban this because we sucked at stopping it. We actually stopped it. Mm-hmm. And we used it too. Remember Tucker Kraft? But
I don't remember very often we pushed him. Most of the time he did that.
Forrest doesn't need any push, right?
Most of the time he did do that on, because you can't be a hypocrite if you're wanting that to go away. We can't be also being like, hey, let's just. And we were calling for it. Why don't we run the tush push? Why don't we just get the yard? It's like, how many teams would have kept those drives going if they didn't have that tush push as an option? Is it a cheat code in the game, to run that play to get a yard?
Yeah, That's a great point. Yeah, so I'd like to see it go back, me personally. And here's the thing, in terms of the Eagles, Jalen Hurts squats. What is it? He squats like 500 pounds or something insane.
I thought it was 600.
It was a 6. Like that dude. He don't need the running back pushing him. He's still going to be effective at it. So I don't think it's going to hinder them in that regard. But anyway, next rule proposal here: roster management changes. This is by the competition committee. What's proposed? Clubs can designate 2 players for return at the 53-man roster cut down up from current limits. All right, postseason teams get 2 extra, quote, designated for return slots, raising the max from 8 to 10. All right, and then it says why it gives teams more flexibility to manage injuries and keep key players available. I'm on board with it.
Yep, let's do it.
anything to expand the rosters, I'm okay with. Like, I never find myself going, man, I wish we had less roster spots, but I do find myself going, damn it, I wish we wouldn't have cut Christian Welch. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Isn't that a little bit of part of the game though, Clay? That's why we got to keep the numbers tight. The players got to bounce around. We got to keep everybody even. I don't want it to go.
Amelia, you're playing with the salary cap off on Madden. Let's be
honest. Oh, I know, you know it. I'm trading for it. I'm maxing that credit card out. Swipe it. But that would be my only pushback is, hey, I just wouldn't want it to be, out of hand where you're back to, all right, you're 90 at the spring is where we're at. No, we don't need that. But we also don't like how, when we had COVID there, the practice squad got a lot bigger. So those things, you do get benefits of it. I just don't want it to get out of hand.
I think that's the best way to go about it, though, is it still sticks with the same format. You're just given a little bit of flexibility with these designations. It's not like we're going from 53 to, 55 man or, we're not changing the amount of guys that can dress for game day or anything.
Right.
Just giving them a little more flexibility. I'm on board. I think it's cool.
Yeah. Coach Lynn said it was 600 pounds. So you guys were correct there. So that's crazy. A quarterback squatting that much money or that much, he's got that much money too. Probably has to squat that much weight.
Trying to lift up the money bags. That's
what is 600 pounds of money? Can we get a conversion there?
2-0 for this. Get on that for us, Bub. All right. Tiebreakers adjustment. Competition committee proposed. What's proposed adds, quote, point differential as the third tiebreaker for contract awards, likely meaning draft pick compensation or similar. What am I missing here? Why? Refines how ties are broken for administrative purposes, favoring teams with better scoring margin.
Gotcha. So, like, if the teams both are 8 and 9, and then you go by, I think that's you go down the line of where they're breaking that tie.
Got it. Okay, good deal. Look, Drew D with the hard hitting facts. 45,359 bills for 100 pounds. So let's times that by 6, gents. What would that be? I gotta do it now. See,
do it on the calculator there.
Emilio said that's a big number. 43,359.
Yeah.
What, Emilio?
Oh,
times 6, right? 260,154.
Okay. Now, how much does a dollar bill weigh?
I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
I can't do it.
And we did math in hour 2. I like it.
I haven't had a daddy soda this evening. I can't handle this tonight. Moving on. It's like doing a show with my sister's kids or something. It says, with voting just days away, these proposals could reshape the game's flow, strategy, and fairness. Whether you're a fan of more returns, fewer penalties, or keeping the tush-push alive, the outcomes will set the tone for the 2025 season. What do you think? Any changes you'd love to see stick? Any parting thoughts there, gents? Anything? And again, shout out to United Bates, and again, happy belated birthday. He wanted to kind of
great.
Yeah, too. I'm glad he hit. Like, Bates should manage the show. I'm just saying.
Bates is definitely PTA family Mount Rushmore for sure.
No doubt, no doubt about it. Yeah. So, any parting thoughts on that, gents, as we get ready to move on to the next topic?
Appreciate him bringing it up. No, I think that's a good way to go about it. To a tiebreaker, though, let me ask you this. Do you think that we need to get rid of ties in the NFL? Like how college just gets it taken care of?
Bro, it drives me insane. Like, I try to think, like, we talk about with the penalties and the challenges, like I think we all three agree. We believe the NFL wants that vagueness so they can kind of nudge things a little bit, right?
Yeah, or they may like that a team or two has a tie on their record. Just to
why? And now, look, I'm going to be a hypocrite here because what did I just get through saying? I want things to stay the same, right? And ties were a huge part of the game for the history of the game. Maybe that's why they're holding on to it.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's
one I would love to see go away. I'd love to know who holds the game.
I just wanted to get your take. That was it.
I appreciate you got my blood pressure up. So, all right. So here's the news of the day. If you guys are on Patreon, you probably already read this, which that's one of the perks of being in the Patreon group. You get to see stuff that we're going to be talking about on the show early. As we're kind of feeding these articles into the system. And there's a lot of cool perks to join the Patreon group. Just scan the QR code in the upper right. That'll send you to patreon.com/Packer Fan Total Access. If you're just a member of one of the 3 tiers, the cheapest tier, $3, you get access to everything on the site. We're also going to be uploading videos. Thanks for Chalk Talk moving forward. We do giveaways. We're actually giving away an autographed Mason Crosby card with a piece of a jersey patch on it. We're going to be doing that tomorrow. So if you are a member of at least the $3 tier on Patreon by midnight tonight, we'll make sure your name goes on that wheel, and we're going to draw that live on the air. We just mailed off 2 autographed Lucas Van Ness jerseys to 2 lucky winners that were supporting the show in that regard. It also includes YouTube members, but I always tell people, man, for $3 you get a lot more bang for your buck being on the Patreon group as opposed to a YouTube member. So
that's a clearance rag deal right there. The Patreon group.
All right, so Here we go, gents. The news of the day, breaking news. Packers reportedly scheduled top 30 visit with Georgia edge defender. Say it for me, Amelia.
Mykel.
Basically
Mykel Williams.
Here's the guy.
Just say it like you've been drinking, right? Mykel.
Right.
Mykel Williams out of Georgia. So obviously a higher touted prospect. This is somebody you're looking at for the 23rd pick. I don't think he's going to last much longer than that, but in the write-up, put the Green Bay Packers have reportedly scheduled a top 30 visit with Georgia edge rusher Mykel Williams, according to sources cited by ESPN, marking him as a prime target for the 2025 NFL Draft. Williams currently slotted at the number 22 spot on our PTA big board, impressed at the NFL Combine with his 6'5", 260-pound frame and 34-inch arms, offering the Packers a dynamic edge defender with the potential to elevate their pass rush alongside Rashawn Gary. So let's go back where it started. Could you imagine lining up across from him in high school, Emilio?
Thick.
One pissed off kid right there, don't I?
Flip the defense. All right, I'm coach. I'm going in motion. I got motion over here.
I feel you, Tim. That's the same vibe right there, man. All right, scouting report coming out of high school. A 5-star recruit from Hardaway High School in Columbus, Georgia. Mykel Williams entered the 2022 class as a top-tier talent, standing 6'5", 245 pounds. He blended size with speed, reportedly clocking a 4.6 40-yard dash. His senior tape highlighted a relentless motor, explosives get off, and raw power, making him Georgia's number 2 prospect. Anybody knows anything about Georgia, man, they're churning out the prospects. Number 2 prospect in Georgia, the number 7 overall player per 24/7 Sports. Initially committed to USC, he flipped to Georgia, where recruiters saw him as a future star with rare physical tools. So he was at USC, flipped to Georgia. Here are his college stats. Williams' 3 seasons at Georgia showcased steady growth within a stacked defensive line. As a freshman in 2022, he recorded 28 tackles, 4.5 sacks, and 6.5 tackles for a loss in 13 games, contributing to a national championship. His sophomore, so he had 4.5 sacks as a freshman on a national championship team. That's pretty wild. His sophomore year in 2023, he saw 18 tackles, 4.5 sacks, and 7 tackles for a loss across 13 appearances, earning second-team All-SEC honors in 2024 despite an early ankle injury. All right, so this is where we're going to get an injury report here in a second as well with the scouting report. In 2024, despite an early ankle injury, he posted 21 tackles, 5 sacks, and 9 tackles for a loss in 13 games, nabbing second-team All-SEC. Career totals, 67 tackles, 14 sacks, 22.5 tackles for a loss, and 3 forced fumbles over 39 games. Now, here is PFF grades, and I think I can read these. They're a little bit small. In 2024, he finished with a 78.4 grade. I think in 2023, that's a 78.7. It might be a 76.7. And then in 2022, he had a 71.5. So, I mean, he's gotten better pretty much every year. He's stabilized the last 2 years, looks pretty solid across the board. He's a physical freak. Look at that run defense grade, guys. 82.9 run defense grade. So
15 hurries last year also, and 2 batted balls,
There you go.
And
good stuff.
With the injury, like you said, having a little bit of a injury issue, he still, I think 2024 might have been his best year.
Yeah. What do you think so far, Emilio?
Not mad at it. A dude at a talented school that we've gone back to many times. For a linebacker, for a D lineman, might as well hit up the edge while we're at it. So I'm not opposed.
Yep. All right, so it says detailed scouting report entering the draft. Measured at 6'5", 260 pounds at the combine, William boasts a sculpted build with 34-inch arms and untapped athletic potential. Post-injury, he ran a 4.73 40 at Georgia Pro Day, but pre-ankle sprain estimates had him at a sub 4.6. With a 36-inch vert. In pass rush situations, he leverages a quick first step and devastating bull rush. I'm telling you, speed to power, one of the things that Greg Cosell talks about all the time. You've got to be able to rush the quarterback with power.
You have to.
It's the must-have. He said every tackle I talk to when I go to these tackle clinics, these offensive line clinics all over the place, they say, yeah, you better be able to bull me. You better be able to bull me because you're not going to beat me with finesse. You're not going to beat me with these fancy pass rush.
Chops, spin moves, rolls, try to bend.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, if you can win with power, you can play off of that. I think one of Rashawn Gary's problems is he wins with power. And listen, a pass rush move is that straight arm. I'm telling you, Rashawn Gary's got one of the best straight arms. He'll literally just get underneath the shoulder pad and just lock out and use his power to drive them straight back. I think the problem with Gary is you see him in the offseason, he's working on the feet, he's working on the hands, he's working on the
squat and swim, and
pin your damn ears back and go get that dude, because that's what you're good at doing, right? And I don't think it's a coincidence either. Rebrovich gets fired, right? He gets let go. Why? Why did the pass rush take a step back as well? There's just a lot of different things that come into play here for sure. Chuck in the chat, yeah, Goody likes his Georgia prospects. There's no two ways about it.
Especially this one. He's barely 21. Uh-oh. Goody DiCaprio.
6'5", 260. I'm flying, Jack.
We got to cut that. We got to clip that one for sure. So in pass rush situations, he leverages a first quick step and devastating bull rush using length to keep blockers at bay. His versatility lining up from a 3-tech to a wide 9 makes him a fit for Green Bay's aggressive 4-3 scheme. While his run defense is stout, setting the edge with authority, his pass rush repertoire needs refinement beyond power moves. A full recovery could unlock a top-tier edge with all-pro upside. So here's the RAS. It's somewhat incomplete, but again, his height was a little over 6'5", scoring him a 9. His weight was 260, scoring a 5.29. He actually came in at 260, but he played last year at 265, 270-ish. So thick. He was trying to cut down weight, probably because of the ankle, and he wanted to make sure he could help recompensate for that 40-yard dash. But he ended up running a 4.73, which at his size scored an 8.15. 20-yard split was a 2.76. 10-yard split was a 1.65. So it looks like the strongest part of that 40-yard dash was the top-end speed, right? So once he got cruising. There was no bench press, no agility rating, and no explosive testing there. What do y'all think about the RAS? There's not a whole lot to glean there, but I could see him. When you watch the tape, he looks more like a 4.6 guy than a 4.7 guy for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that I love that he was a solid 6'5". I love that he filled that out and that wasn't a fake number. Look how big his hands are 10 and a quarter, and his arms are 34 and almost a half. When we were talking about Chris Paul being at about 30 and 3/4, so he's got another 4 inches compared to a linebacker, and we're back to arm length talk. But it's for a DN, I think a little bit more, a little bit more necessary number just to take a peek at. And then to his injury, Greg Rice answering his own question after some research, said he had tightrope ankle surgery. The failure rate for tightrope fixation is around 4%. And finishing it off, I thought ankles were hard to fix, but it seems the opposite. So again, it's kind of that same thing like Ravel. If you get him in the building, or at least you watch enough tape, he's produced enough. At some point, someone's going to get hurt. At some point, someone's going to get injured. I tore my ACL. I kept running on it afterwards. Like you're going to have to play at some point through an injury or post-injury.
And AFAM went on to say, Greg, stop trying to grab your own ankles. Look at Tim, how disgusted he is in this group. Tim, you're going to have to keep him in check, man. I can't do it. I can't.
I can't either.
All we can do is not put the chat on the screen, which I kind of enjoy doing it, to be honest with you. So, all right, moving along. Injury and character concerns. Williams suffered a high ankle sprain in Georgia's 2024 opener against Clemson, missing 2 games and playing limited snaps early. He bounced back late in the season, and recent updates show him hitting 20 miles per hour in rehab sprints, per NFL Network's Ian Rappaport, with clearance expected by summer. A 2023 toe injury kept him out of the spring practice, but he's avoided major setbacks otherwise. Off the field, Williams is a model prospect, high football IQ, praised by Kirby Smart for leadership and no character concerns. His resilience through injuries only enhances his profile. So
I think he's running out of the first.
Yeah, those last two sentences were key.
Yeah,
definitely. And then you got draft projection. Williams' draft stock rides a wave of pre-injury hype and post-injury caution. Before the ankle issue, he was a top 10 lock. All right. Now he's a late first-round consensus, with ESPN's Phil Yates ranking him number 3 among edges and number 20 overall. We got him in a 22 spot. That's pretty cool, right? Phil Yates, we don't even have him on our board, so that's really neat. There's that sandwich again. Bleacher Report slots him at number 22. The Packers picking at 23 could pair him with Rashawn Gary to form a fearsome duo, though teams like the Falcons at number 15 or Steelers at number 19 might jump earlier. His upside screams day 1 starter, but if injury concerns linger, he could slip to early day 2, unlikely past pick 35, given the premium on edge talent. What do y'all think here?
Yeah, we're not grabbing him in the first round. We're not grabbing him, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
I mean, he's not going to be there at 54. What's our second round? Oh, here it is on the ticker. 54. Look at that. Yeah, 54. Yeah, I don't think he makes it there. I don't think he makes it to 23, honestly. And I don't think Goody's going to move up, to grab him.
So we're seeing a multitude of players now, right? That's like, man, if they fall to us, Emilio, yeah, let's take them. But we keep like Jahdae Barron's like, man, I wouldn't be surprised if he goes top 10. Like you're seeing this with Williams, with Mykel Williams. If he proves to be healthy, and I'm sure he'll get other top 30 visits, and he goes in and hey, look, they like what they see. He may go top 10 too. Who knows, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and taking a Georgia guy's right up Goody's playbook, so I wouldn't put that past.
What?
Yeah, I wouldn't put it past.
Goody likes Georgia guys? Are you sure?
Especially a 6'5" one with 82-inch wingspan that's ready to just go play edge with a bull rush. I mean, let's go ahead and line up Rashawn, LVN. You rotate in D Wyatt. I mean,
yep.
Yeah. Greg Rice says Mykel Williams edge in the 15th spot for PFF and NFL mock draft database. There you go. So,
and he's not even projected to anybody on mock draft database. Like everybody else on edge from Abdul all the way down to Nick Scorton are projected to a team. He's the only one that's not.
Yeah. Weed says in the chat, yeah, he probably doesn't make it to 23. Respect Orange is same. I'll be surprised if he's there.
Asking the chat this: would you take him if he's at 23? Yes or no?
Who else is on the board?
who said that?
No, I'm asking the chat right now.
Right.
Y or N, or just let me know what you guys think. Are you taking him at 23 if he falls?
Right. Let me put it this way. We've got him again. Let me go ahead and drop this down, and we'll get the board back up. We're gonna kind of troubleshoot this together here, see what we got. So if you look at Mykel Williams here in the 22 spot for us, right? There's one spot placeholder. There's a reason it's showing 23. Let's say the board falls exactly how we expected, or the draft night falls just like our board, okay? Which means when we pick at 23, let's say Mykel Williams is the best available on our board when we pick at 23. Would you take it? That's the way we need to ask that, right? Because like Tim said, who else is on the board? I mean,
yeah,
is Kenneth Grant sitting there?
Yeah, is Walter Nolan still on the board?
Right. So all those things come into play for sure. And it is interesting to see that the Packers have been interested in Walter Nolan. He's in the 18 spot. Mykel Williams is in the 22 spot. And that was a top 30 visit there. Shamar Stewart was a top 30 visit. What we say about him? He might drop a little bit, right, because of his rawness. So, and then, of course, you got James Pierce Jr. is another one. One thing's for sure. Goody's got his eyes on those edge defenders in the first round, don't he? Like it seems like it. Yeah. It seems like that's where he's now. It doesn't mean he doesn't have a handful of players at other positions that he don't even need to scout. Like, hey, we got our information. We know they're the dude at 23. That could be the case too. But very interesting. Drew D says, I noticed the Packers. Thank you for the super chat, Drew. I noticed the Packers have a lot of visits with first rounders. That tells me they aren't sure how it will play out and want to nail that top pick. That's a good point. It's a very good point.
I agree.
And it kind of, maybe I'm wrong, but it kind of makes me feel like there's very, very little chance they trade out. Because if they were going to trade out, you might see them doing top 30 visits with, late first, early seconds type guys, right? So, but again, that's assuming our board looks similar to Goody's. It may look night and day, right? But
Goody got a hold of our board. He would just close the laptop and slide it back to us and say thanks, but no thanks.
He'd say, "You're so cute." He'd pat you on the head. Get the hell
nicely done. Nicely done. You guys can go ahead and get out of here.
Exactly. All right, let's see here. Greg Rice in the chat says, I hope they change something in trying to get the first round pick right. Yeah, that's been a big conversation of how many times they've missed on the first round here recently. I don't call LVN a miss yet. He could very well be. He finished with, I want to say, an 11% pressure rate, according to Next Gen Stats over at NFL Pro. So I can't write him off as a miss yet. Now, you'd like to get a lot more out of the what pick was that? Do you guys remember? Was that 13?
13.
Yeah, 13. That feels like if we compare it across the board here, that would suggest if we, at 13, and if the draft was completely the same this year as it was the year we took LVN, we would get someone like a Kelvin Banks, offensive tackle out of Texas, Kenneth Grant, defensive tackle out of Michigan, Shamar Stewart, edge out of Texas A&M, Jahdae Barron, corner out of Texas, Shador Sanders, quarterback out of Colorado, Colston Loveland, tight end, Walter Nolan, Emeka Egbuka, we've talked extensively about him, right? Yep. Mike Green, Jahad Campbell, folks like that. I like to think that, someone up there around that 13 mark, like a Will Johnson, James Pierce Jr., Kelvin Banks, or Kenneth Grant.
Jahdae Barron,
you would expect them to play a little better than LVN has, but you've also got to take into consideration LVN can only play the snaps he's given, right? Yep. And when we do that heavy rotation at edge, like he finished with over an 11%, pressure rate. I don't know, man. Maybe it's because we went to the Tennessee game, Emilio. I just remember him. He terrorized. Absolutely terrorized Will Levis.
I still stand on the fact of you need to give these guys 3 years and then that working into your fourth year, if it's going to happen or not. I mean, at least then you can say, all right, we gave him a completely fair option. If it was injured the first year, let's get him another year, then we can move on. You already have him on the contract. Why worry about it? Why stress about getting him off the books? I mean, the year after you draft him because you think he's terrible. Like, I don't get that. So let's keep him for the 4 we have it. Let's move forward with it. And then to those first round picks, I think we ran down those numbers one time, but we had only, 2 first round picks in the top 10 since like the 2000. It was like BJ and Clay Matthews were the 2 picks. And then you say that we miss on everybody else. We're also picking in the 20s most of the time because
that's a big part.
Because we're winning. I mean,
right. That's a big part. That's where LVN, like, I understand the frustration with people.
Right. Yeah. No, I get that.
And I'm not off of him. I'm with you, Emilio. I'm like, hey, let's see what he does this year. This is year 3, right? But yeah, the rest of them, you're spot on, man. Like Tim, what he's talking about, you're taking guys toward the back end of the first round. You can't expect them to just go out there and be absolute studs. We hit on guys in the second, third, fourth, all throughout the draft, right? Tucker Kraft was a 3rd round pick. Who was it? Zach Tom was a 4th rounder, I believe, right? Evan Williams was a 4th rounder. Obviously, you got Edgerrin Cooper in the 2nd. But that first round is kind of that we know these guys aren't going to be around later in the draft. And I think that's typically where you get into that ball clay type mold.
Yeah, absolutely. And it has me kind of like thinking, I was kind of in the camp of Goody might trade here. This is great. Weed right here in the chat. I think it's a better chance they trade up than down. And that's kind of where my head's been kind of going based on these visits and what we're starting to see is like for all the talk about Goody trading out of that first round pick, I think he may just move up if he's, like you said, if he's got high grades on these guys. We're meeting with a lot of first round potential picks. There may be somebody that he's in love with and, he's willing to move up in that first round and try and, get over the first round curse that these fans seem to think that we have with draft picks. So I think there's a chance it could happen. For the longest time, I thought he was going to trade back and load up, second, third, fourth, fifth round picks. But I think there's just as much of an argument that Goody might try to move up from 23, move into that 15 range or 16 or something.
Right. But to your first thought, Tim, of them staying back, even if they go back 3 spots, and there's still like kind of the Jaden Reed effect where you have this many edge defenders you've already looked at, you're ready to go. There's still 3 on the board. Let's go back 2 and go with, we're completely fine with taking any of these 3. That's still the, so I think
that's a good point. I didn't think about that. Like, you don't have to trade. Trading back doesn't mean you're necessarily out of the first round.
Right.
You could trade down to the bottom of it.
We're going to stress when we see the and then the trade has happened. We're going to be, all right, that's it. We're out of the first. It was terrible. We're only going to go back 1 spot, and we're going to pick up three picks because Goody just told him it's the best idea.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Weed in the chat said, if you want to cut LVN, compare Trey Hendrickson's first 3 years to LVN's first 2 years. Very, very good point. If that's what you're going off of, you would have cut Trey Hendrickson, and he never would have turned into the player that he did. Now, the LVN and the Goody haters, they do not want to hear that. That's for sure. So, because that was the guy that they were all stomping on the table for all off season long. So, again, it's not everybody. I've got to be better at not trying to group all fans into the same, you know what I mean? But they're out there. There's no doubt about it. All right. Anything else, guys? I know Keith hopped in here and says, great show as usual, guys. Hey, thank you so much, Keith. Thanks for making us a part of your evening here, buddy. Anything else another prospect y'all want to look at here? We got a couple minutes, or we can wrap it up either way, man.
I don't really have anyone on the.
Okay. That's cool. That's cool. All right.
Nobody that I don't think we've already talked about.
Right.
I'm fixated on edge now. We've been talking about edge.
Yeah.
I think
we've talked. Full circle, Tim.
Yeah. I mean, we broke down, Nick Scorton, Shamar Stewart. What's the kid from Boston College? Ezraku, Donovan Ezraku. That's another one.
Yeah.
Where's he on our board, Ezraku?
Ezraku, I just seen him. We've got Ezraku in the 28 spot, Tim, and the Packers did meet with him. Obviously, got ties to Jeff Hafley. I'm pretty sure that he didn't transfer in. He played under half. Yep. So I'd be okay with that at 23. That's in that range, right? It's in that ballpark. And when you get in that same range of that cluster of guys where you go, hey, these guys are pretty much in the same tier or within one tier of each other, you go, okay, is there one that really sticks out to you? Whether it's, work ethic or it's just maybe the handful of tools that you got, whatever it is, right? That I could see Ezraku being one for sure.
26 hurries, 20 quarterback hits, 14 sacks. Yeah, he's a guy. There's a guy.
Yeah. What do you think about him? You'll be okay with Ezraku at 23?
Yeah, I think that's why you're going to go ahead and spread out your information net. You're going to cast that net and figure out all the edge defenders, see who you can get an eye on in person, see what you can get information-wise, and kind of tighten that thing up and see on draft day at pick 20, where are we? At pick 21, where are we? Do we need to move up? Are we liking what's going to happen if we move back? And then play the phone game. I think that he's probably already calling the 3 or 4 AFC teams that are behind us, trying to figure out if we want to trade to them or anybody in the NFC, not in the North, that we can, maybe flip something with.
Yeah, Drew D asked a question here. Omar Norman Lott, that's the name, or that's his name. Are you guys interested in him in the second round?
UTD line.
Yep.
I remember when we looked at, we had a graphic that showed pass rush and pass rush win. I can't remember what all was on it. Let me see if it's. I think we got rid of it. We did get rid of it. We ran out of space. Surprise, right? But anyway, my board's got him a little bit lower here. We got him in the 124 spot, Drew, and here's why he's there. In PFF in 2023, he was 227th at his position. In 2040, he dropped all the way to 327th at his position. PFF Big Board had him in the 50 spot. Consensus Big Board had him 63. Kyle Krabs had him 58. Dane Brugler had him 78. And his RAS was he got 0 points, so it was at least less than a 7. So it doesn't seem to have elite athletic traits. The PFF did not grade him very well. The thing that if we remove those PFF grades, he would be a second-round pick on our board. Right, Emilio? I mean, you'd be averaging out 50, 63, 58, and 78. So the PFF's what brings him down so far for us. So that's where we got him, Drew. And again, it doesn't mean he's not a second-round talent. It's just how we build the board. And I'm going to ride this out too, man. I think it's awesome. And I got to get your all's take on several players, and we'll do this some other time. Obviously, we got a lot of players that are being held down on the board that are being ranked really, really high right now because the consensus big board had them so low at the end of the football season. So we need to make a decision. Hey, do we want to put an updated number, maybe meet in the middle on that number? We'll talk about that at a later time. We got plenty of time as the RAS stuff is going to begin to finalize a little bit more. I would say by April 8th or 9th, definitely by April 10th, we should be able to get all of the information in other than Daniel Jeremiah's top 150. That usually comes just a couple of days before the draft starts. So
the only
anything
thing I would just say about Omar is that he didn't play a bunch. He played, but we're looking at about 200 snaps a season. Around 600 and change total. His pass rush grade at 81.6, run defense of a 68.1, true pass set 88.3, pass rush win rate of an 18%, run stop rate of a 6%. They and Tennessee's defense, they would always flip to the strength. So they would that's how kind of James Pierce, they sort of get him alone on the wide nine. That way you didn't have to fight through a tight end or anything. You can kind of just tee off on the tackle. So that defense is always flipping if there's a motion happening to get him to strength.
Right. Judy says your board was very good last year. It was, and here's the thing, like the way that we set it up, so it really harnesses all the buzz that goes into the draft season. I feel like we get the majority of them right, but some of those late risers are legit, you know. Yeah. So that's the ones we're going to miss on. So you'll see a handful of those, but for the most part, I think it's going to be. And here's what's awesome: we're going to be looking back next year. And we're going to be going. I know, Emilio, we're going to be diving into it again next year. Going, it's even better this year. Like we're going to
in a month or two from now, we're going to be like, why didn't we do it like this? We need to put this column in there next year. And I'm already thinking maybe a height weight column. I know that's been asked for a lot. We reference it a lot. The issue is just trying to carry that over when we're bringing it across. Do we need it now and all that? But no, I do. I'm excited to always kind of add to it. We're going to add to it just talking about this next step. So,
yeah, definitely. Tim, you got any parting thoughts, sir?
Yeah, just again on edge defender, Quandarius Robinson out of Bama, a good probably fourth, maybe late third, early fourth, possibly fifth round guy. If you're looking for some mid value, been watching some tape on him. He's kind of a work in progress, but I think that could be a mid round steal there at edge.
That's interesting because that's a perfect example, Tim. On our board, we got him in the 223 spot. He was 32nd at his position in 2024. He was 90th on the PFF big board. That's going, hey, man, that's going to put him in the ballpark of second to third rounder, right, with those two numbers. But the consensus big board at the end of the college football season had him in the 330 spot. That's what's pulling him down.
He only played 9 games last year, too. So I don't know if he's maybe he's coming off injury or something.
Yeah.
Okay, I just can't let us leave. But really quickly, I know we're over. Desmond Watson out of Florida, 6'6", 464 pounds.
Did you say 460 pounds?
No, he ain't thick. This man's dangerously obese is what's going on.
Bench 225, 36 times. Are we taking him or are we taking him as a UDFA? Are we pulling the trigger in the 7th round? What are we doing?
Emilio. It sounds like a created character on college football. That's what it sounds like.
I can't even find him on PFF.
He's not on there. He had his the Florida had their pro day on there today. So
listen, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. No, you go. I was trying to pull up.
Who?
Quandarius Robinson that Tim mentioned, right?
Yeah.
330 is the number we got on the consensus big board. Currently, he is sitting in, go back here. They call him K Robinson. It looks like QUE, but 181 is where he's at. He peaked at 110. You see what I'm saying, Tim? Like that's what's pulling him down. Should we put in the 181 right now for him? Is that one of those that we go, yeah, probably should do it or no? What do you think?
I don't know. I'd leave that up to Emilio, the board expert here, because I'm doing a little just a read on him real quick on his profile. I mean, there's a lot to like, and then there's a lot to be desired too. So I don't know. PFF's got him at 119 right now. So,
right.
Okay, so, and the number we have in is 90, so our number is actually a little better than that.
Actually higher, yeah.
I was going to say the only thing we could do, we can throw in another column and kind of weight it if we really need to when we go back and look at these guys, but we can dive into that later on.
Yeah, cool. Just something to think about. And I want to get the chat's take. Like, everybody in the Patreon group, let me know what y'all think about that. Would y'all rather us some of those? Not all of them. We're not going to do all of them. We're just going to do a handful that, like, man, the consensus big board early grade or early ranking is really pulling them down. We'll get your all's take on it too. So we'll see what everybody says in there. So again, if you want to be entered into the giveaway for the autographed Mason Crosby card, make sure you're a member on Patreon by midnight tonight. Just a $3 membership.
Up there by Emilio's head there.
Yeah, as he's laughing.
QR code. There it is. There you go. Here's a guy.
That guy's blood type is Rocky Road.
Yeah, with that Rocky Road.
I'm not a doctor.
That Rocky Road, he's running a 5.9340 with a
blazing speed,
25-inch vert.
Whew.
Oh man!
Hey, he over 400 pounds. He ran a sub 10
over 450, Tim.
Yeah,
over
man.
450 pounds. I want to see Jalen Hurts squat him. You know what I'm saying?
What's his name again, Amelia? We're so far over right now. What's his name again?
Desmond Watson.
Desmond. That's one of the first names that popped up. That's hilarious. Like, everybody's Googling this cat right now. Let me get you guys. Oh my God.
That is, I mean, he is.
I thought Deion Walker was big. Look at this guy.
That's an earth mover. I mean, that is a DA.
Earth mover. That's an earth crusher.
That's a DA cat dozer just cleaning up the zero guy.
No, this dude looks like a cook down at the Waffle House. Like, I'm not even lying. Tim, what do you see this cat, bro? We're deleting an image just so we can get this.
You want to run the tush push? We got a player for him.
That's the ass mask. That ain't the push tush push, whatever. I mean, this is. What do you guys see this, Tim? This
I mean, him and our boy at the Packers game hanging over the bar. Remember our belly boy hanging over the bar?
Oh, no, he looks like Brad Pitt compared to this cat. Are you kidding me? Bro, look at this. Bang. Look at them legs, boys.
Here's a guy.
Look at the guy in the background. He's like, I can't even watch.
Yeah, but check it. Higher vertical than Tom Brady.
No way.
Put it on the ticker.
Put it on the ticker.
Oh, my gosh.
Of course that's true, right? The greatest quarterback in the history of the game. This dude has a higher vertical than Okay. If you listen real close, you can hear that Jordan symbol going. It's really tight there, boys. Really tight. I can't do this show. I'm done. This show sucks.
Heard it from a fan right here.
Respect oranges more rolls than a bakery, boys. All right. That's it. Appreciate y'all hanging out. Don't know why you do, but we're very thankful for it. So make sure you hit like, hit subscribe. We'll see y'all in the morning at 8:30 a.m. Central for a little Good Morning Lambeau. We'll get in here and talk some more draft. We got a couple other articles. So actually, a little teaser just so you know what we're talking about. We're going to continue with the edge theme, the top 7 edge defender breakdown according to our board. We'll give you all the height, weight, all that stuff, kind of how they stack up against each other. And we'll go with that in the morning. We'll kick off there. We might get to some offensive line talk as well. So if you guys want to get a sneak peek of that in the Patreon group, just make sure you're in there, and you can go right there on the homepage. You'll find it. The title is Top 7 Edge Defender Breakdown. Go give it a look, and we'll talk about it in the morning. Everybody have a good night. Take care. And
there we go. We out.
Bye, guys.